Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer here from Memorial Gymnasium after Vanderbilt's 74-70 win over UNC Greensboro, one of the SoCon's top three teams. Certainly looked like that tonight. Vanderbilt came out, played free, played confident, got out to a 13-0 run and led 41-29 at halftime, hit 8 threes in the first half, but UNCG didn't go away late. Vanderbilt let it back in the game, and UNCG almost made it pay for it. Nice win for Vanderbilt at the end, though. Showed some peripheral signs of being a really good team. Knocked down 17 of 18 free throws. Ezra Magnon was at the beginning and the end of that with 12 for 12 performance from the line. Colin Smith had a double-double, so we'll get more into that, but want to talk about our presenting sponsor for basketball season, the Wash House. Are you dreading laundry day? Is it stealing time to do the things you truly enjoy? Let the laundry professionals at the Wash House take care of that for you. With 2 convenient locations in the greater Nashville area, just drop off your dirty laundry, and our professional attendants can give you back the one thing you can never have enough of, your time. Within 24 hours, you can pick up your nicely folded, fresh and clean laundry ready to be put away. Check out www.washhouseclean.com. Stop in today and get your time back. Vanderbilt wins 74-70 over UNC Greensboro, a team that certainly fought with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt completely bullied it on the glass throughout the first half. UNCG got back in the second half and did that to Vanderbilt at times as well. Vanderbilt finds a way, though, behind 17 of 18 shooting performance from the free throw line. Ezra Magnon at 24, Colin Smith had 13, as well as 11 rebounds. Nice night for Vanderbilt, and a nice win in a game that Vanderbilt seemed to not be super favored in publicly. It was only a 1-point favorite by the time this thing tipped off. Tyron Lawrence didn't play, Lee Dort didn't play, Van Allen Lubin didn't play. Jerry Stackhouse said that Thanksgiving may be a more realistic timeline for those three, but Vanderbilt won with what it had tonight, and certainly showed that it had enough to beat a team like Presbyterian, had enough to beat USC Upstate, because it beat a team better than both of those teams tonight, and found some good signs from guys who maybe won't play as much down the stretch of the regular season, but show that they can maybe be players for Vanderbilt in the future. Jace Rivera-Torres is the one that comes to mind. I think he'll play a little bit in the regular season, but man, was he good tonight with the ball in his hands. I think as you see more Power 5 teams and such, some of those looks won't come quite as easily, but Jason Rivera-Torres was able to get it off the bounce a few times for himself. Made some freshman mistakes as well, but seems to be really growing, and seems to have grown even since last Tuesday. When UNCG was in the zone, he would be able to find the soft spot and go get a bucket for himself. Made a nice fadeaway from the elbow, had a nice drive to get his first points of the game. So Jason Rivera-Torres is the freshman that stood out to me. The two guys that really stood out were Ezra Magnon and Colin Smith, though. Colin Smith contributed a ton on the glass, as did Carter Lang is normal. Colin Smith led him with 11 rebounds, was their second leading scorer. Nice to see performance from him where he got going a little bit, hit 3 early threes that really propelled Vanderbilt to kind of get going in this game. I think Vanderbilt has a chance to be a really good three-point shooting team. Hadn't shown that before tonight, and it feels like you feel a lot better about that. What I also feel a lot better about, and maybe my main takeaway from tonight, is how much Ezra Magnon has improved as a shooter. I think the form is a little bit different, but the thing that really stands out to me is the confidence and the execution of it, and him not being afraid to be the guy on the free throw line late in the game that puts Vanderbilt up. And when the game's on the line, Vanderbilt turns to Ezra Magnon. I don't think you could say that a year ago, and Ezra Magnon even took a 3 that was a little bit contested tonight. You love to see that performance of Ezra Magnon if you're a Vanderbilt fan, and you think, man, if Ezra Magnon could shoot it closer to 40% than he can 25%. 40 is a lot to ask, but if he can shoot it anywhere near that, really, you got a real chance of being a really good team. And Ezra Magnon showed that, and showed that Vanderbilt has some veteran leadership that can really carry it down the stretch. Colin Smith was also mentioned as a leader by Jerry Stackhouse. Vanderbilt won the rebounding battle 44-31, so that tells you a lot about what you need to know about the size in this game. I think UNCG's bigs were really good, but Vanderbilt, even without Van Allen Lubin and Lee Dort, was able to kind of exploit them on the glass, and that's something that you look at as a positive. Vanderbilt had 11 offensive rebounds at halftime. UNCG had just 12 total. So Vanderbilt, I think the difference when Vanderbilt was really good in this game was it was able to exploit UNCG's zone, it was making shots, and it was bullying it on the glass, and like a Power 5 team should do to a mid-major team. I know it's a good mid-major team. You have some expectation for what they're going to be. I think a lot of people thought that Vanderbilt would lose this game heading in, but you see where Vanderbilt can maybe separate itself in games like this that it hasn't been able to against the Presbyterian and USC Upstate. You saw it tonight. Vanderbilt separated itself, even against a team with Keyshawn Langley, who's a really good player. May have been Vanderbilt's best player tonight with his performance, but Vanderbilt finds a way to exploit some of the weaknesses of that team, and you kind of see the NBA mentality of Jerry Stackhouse there by working some mismatches and finding ways to exploit them and find a way to win this game. I think Vanderbilt's second half kind of destruction was a little concerning. UNCG went on a big run. Vanderbilt went on a scoring drought of over 4 minutes and then one of over 2 minutes. Can't have that. I think that shows how much you need Tyron Lawrence. Felt like in those stretches, Ezra Magnon, he was off the floor for a lot of them, but when he was really their only go-to scorer throughout those stretches. Vanderbilt needs Tyron Lawrence. It needs an alpha scorer. Ezra Magnon, I think, is a really good player. I don't know that his game is to be the alpha scorer and the guy that has to score every time down the floor. I think he's better when he can be a scorer and can be a complementary scorer and can be a top 2 or 3 guy on your offense, but he has to have a sidekick and has to have a guy who can really do some things alongside him. I think Vanderbilt also needs a post presence. Carter Lang was good passing it, I think. Tassos Comateros hit some shots, but they need Van Lubin and Lee Dort back if they're going to have sustained success. Moving forward, I think you feel really good after tonight. Obviously, you saw their deficiencies in the second half. I think they gave UNCG a lot of good shots that it didn't make even. But moving forward, if you can get a game like this, if you can get what you got out of Ezra Magnon, if you can get what you got out of Jason Rivera-Torres and Colin Smith, and you can pair that with having Tyron Lawrence back in the lineup and having Van Lubin and Lee Dort in the lineup, maybe you can go win some ball games when it really matters, and maybe you can build that resume out a little bit. I think tonight's going to be a quad 3 game for Vanderbilt, especially since UNCG obviously suffered a loss. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to move up a whole lot in Ken Pom and such because they were so close to the projected score. They were, I think, 2 points off. They won by the same margin of victory that you would think they would have won by. So I don't know that they're super helped out by the metrics today, but they did cover the spread. And I think the bigger thing, their resume could have been completely tanked after tonight. Having a quad 4 and a quad 3 loss, Vanderbilt avoids that. Now has 2 wins, 1 in quad 3, 1 in quad 4, as well as a quad 4 loss. So not a good resume, but it's hard to have a good resume at this point in the year unless you're undefeated. So Vanderbilt, I think, I wouldn't say it was dead if it lost tonight, but stays alive to kind of keep that resume going. And you look at it and say, well, they rebounded well, they shot it well, they didn't turn it over a whole lot. They didn't force any turnovers either, which I think is it's a real thing that you have to do. They didn't get a single point off turnovers tonight, but 12 to 12 assist to turnover, that was the best they've had all year. So there's progress here. They looked like they were playing a little bit more free. They were comfortable, and I think that's a huge step for this team. So Vanderbilt has a chance here to build on some things if they can get Tyron Lawrence, Lee Dort, and Van Lubin back by Thanksgiving, and maybe go win a game or 2 in Vegas. I think it's going to be difficult to kind of ingrain those guys in the lineup just because 3 games, it'll be 4 games by then. Without those guys will be difficult to kind of ingrain them, especially when they have such big roles. But if Vanderbilt can find how to do that pretty early, it's got a real chance here to be a player and get some resume wins next week, and those will come. Central Arkansas is without its best player, so Vanderbilt's going to have a chance to find some exploitations in that matchup as well. I'd expect them to be 3-1 going into Vegas. If they're not, we got a problem, and we're going to have a tough post-game show to do on Friday night. But you got something to build on here. It's not perfect. It's not an NCAA tournament resume now. It's not an NCAA tournament Ken Pom or any numbers like that, but you got a chance. And Vanderbilt certainly showed that it can hang with some teams tonight. I don't know that it showed it can hang with Tennessee or Arkansas or any of those teams, but it found a way to win against a team that looked pretty dang good and had some good guard play, had a good big as well. So Vanderbilt finds a way to win, and I think that's probably the story tonight, as well as Ezra Magnon's shot, Jason Rivera-Torres maybe taking a step in terms of his playmaking, Carter Lang rebounding, but Vanderbilt's in a position to be in a position despite having the Presbyterian loss on its resume. It's the biggest takeaway. You can't fix a resume in one night. You can't boost your Ken Pom in one night, but you can do things well enough to stay alive, and that's what Vanderbilt did tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back here on Friday night, presumably with Billy. We're not quite sure yet, but thank you guys for watching. Tune into Elena's coverage of the women's basketball game against Western Kentucky tomorrow, and thank you guys for watching. God bless.